Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? It's the man child. Alright, so today for review, we're going to go over the new Masters Universe, Masterverse, New Adventure Slush Head figure. Yeah, looking really cool. I like that this Slush Head comes in this oversized box. Sort of like Too Bad the New Attorney Beastman came with. Because you get a spare head, a bunch of cool accessories. It's another, yeah, wacky figure I didn't see coming to the Masterverse line so fast anyway, you know. I thought they would choose other characters, which there's quite a bit coming. According to San Diego Comic-Con, we got a lot of neat figures coming in the fall next year. But it is neat if you like New Adventures and to see those New Adventures characters made into Masterverse figures, and Slush Head's another example of that. And here's a quick look at Slush Head's art on the back of the box, looking really neat. Now you notice there's no bio on this box. That's because my particular figure came from Germany, so these are showing up overseas right now. They are going to be a Target exclusive in the USA. They're supposed to start shipping in October, November, I believe. But my New Adventure Skeletor that did also come from in Target US also didn't have a bio, so I'm not sure if he's supposed to. But anyway, there's a look at that art. And dropping down here is the four main figures as part of the Wave 9 Masterverse series. And taking a look at the right-hand side of the box, looking in from the window, here's some more art of Slush Head using his blaster weapon as an axe as well, or some type of axe weapon. And here's a quick look or layout with Slush Head and all the accessories and parts you get out of the box. So bringing in Slush Head for a closer look. Now, I already had an issue with mine. I'm going to show you in a second. Obviously, I took that clear, I'll call it biodome helmet off. And according to the promotional art or images, it's supposed to come off because you're able to convert him with another part or a head and vice versa. I'll bring that in a little bit. But mine, so my dome, you can see this here, so let me bring the dome in for a second. Now, one thing about this is plexiglass. These do scuff and scratch easy. It is pretty neat. But you can see from the factory, they had some type of adhesive on mine. That's not, yeah, I mean, this is one of the most important parts of this figure for the multiple setups. Now, not only did I had to put hot water on, heat it up, and I took a little plastic, I have a plastic screwdriver, and had to break it apart from this body armor. It should pop right off, but not only that, one of the pieces broke. Now, so now I know where to line it up. See, it kind of would line up like this and snap on. And it pushes right down. I mean, now, if I didn't show you that, you wouldn't even know it. It's not a big deal. But I'm hoping it's just a QC issue of mine or factory to use, or just because I have one of the earlier figures that I picked up. And this problem will be, rectified with the wave of figures coming out in October, November. But the helmet should pop right off like this, and mine did not. So I'm a little concerned at that. So taking a closer look at the slushier head, or the more disformed head. Cool head sculpt, just the way the teeth, the mouth, the eyes, you can see all that. As far as there's the side, the front. As far as the articulation with the helmet off, obviously you couldn't articulate with the helmet on. We can go all the way down, forward, and spin left to right, and spin all around. As far as a ball peg goes, let's see, with the helmet off, okay, so it's a typical ball peg. And taking a closer look so you can see the grooves inside this armored, right, and how these pieces are supposed to snap in there. And once again, you can see they put little glue spots on mine, and that's, wouldn't let this piece off without me heating it up and breaking it apart. So putting the head in that clear biodome helmet back on, now we know that's how it should come off, as I showed, and mine pops right back on. Once again, it's no big deal if you don't even know it's there, but that's how it's supposed to come off. So moving down, leaving that slushy head on for the moment. Yeah, I really like this armor. It's pretty cool. It's soft, but a lot of cool details in it. It's like I like the color on this guy. Now I thought the promotional images was like more of a darker blue color, but this is like a metallic turquoise kind of color in my light. But even all the silver circuitry is all painted just in a metallic silver color, which is neat. That looks like the little maybe microphone he would talk out of under this helmet. It's pretty cool, as you can see all the details. Right, and there's the front and back, and then you can see the plugs for the he has a couple different backpacks that will bring in soon, and they're going to snap into those plugs. Once again, yeah, really cool circuitry. Now you can see the two big circuits that go around. That's the belt. In order to remove this armored, we're just going to pop it. You're just going to pop it off like this, and then also break this tab on this side. And then you can remove the whole helmet piece right off the body like so. And now here's a little closer look at that armor off the body, so you can see how flexible it is, right? We already took a look at the straps in the back. Once again, we know how that dome removes, and there's even a closer look at the little peg setup and how this would position and lock in there. And you can see there's two larger ones and two small ones for the back, where mine is broken and stuck in there. But once again, it's no big deal. 3 can hold it just fine, and it still works okay. And now with the armored off, once again, taking a closer look at Slush Head and his buck and just overall chest and ab design. Yeah, really cool. I like the colors on his figure. It's like a darkish lime green color, but it has a grayish wash all over it. It looks good for him. I don't know. I like it. Looks like a typical Viking He-Man style buck, it seems like to me. So we already talked about the head. As far as the articulation, we know we have the articulation at, the ab crunch. Can spin at the waist. Now take a look at the arms. He has his own unique, arms sculpted up there. Typical bicep in here okay, so you have the bicep swivel. But the shoulders got like little craters and pits on them. As far as the articulation, his arms can go up, down, forward, back. We already said the bicep swivel can bend all the way up the elbow to the face. His own unique forearms, or at least little spikes or something. Bone pieces coming out of the forearms. Both arms are exactly the same. And in the box with the head, of course, he comes with the Slusher head on. He comes with two weapon gripping hands. They can spin and let's see. Okay, so the hinge joint go in and out, and they're the same on both sides. And as far as a circuit piece here, which is pretty cool. I don't know what just make them look more technical or something. So it looks like you can pop the hand right off. Right, there's our hand, and this piece is separate. And you can slide this right off the bicep over the arm. And here's a closer look at that. Just circuitry with this wrist bracer kind of thing. I guess it's like an arm enhancement or something for him. Then going back to the left side, we know the other side can come off as well. And now here's a look with Slush Head with these arm enhancement circuit pieces off. Obviously the chest armored, the bubble head, and I put the hands back on for you customizers. You don't want to use any of that stuff. So moving back down to the waist, we know he spins at the waist. We already took a look at the arms. These cybernetic pieces, they don't hinder any articulation whatsoever in the arm, which is cool. So you can, bend the arm straight towards the face I showed. There's a better look at the detail in the forearms and the back where we have all the armored off. So moving down, he has these, not a loin. It's not a loin cloth. It's more of a loin guard or cybernetic shorts, I'll call them. So in unique design and sculpt is pretty cool. It has a metallic color to match the armored. Got like a LED belt buckle thing. Not that it glows, but just some kind of light enhancement there. Moving down to the legs with that, as far as the articulation, so we can go all the way out with a split, and kick forward, and go back. Has that thigh cut. It even has like the little bone pieces or raised like scales or something, just like somewhat like the arms and the legs. Can bend all the way up at the knee. Has these cool shin guards. They're really neat looking. It's their own design. They're identical on both sides. Obviously, you can spin at those. And if you want to take these off, you can heat and pop these off with the pegs and put He-Man boots or something on if you didn't like them. And then he has, these typical, it's like Skeletor type creature feet with 3 toes. And then go up, down, and rock side to side. So moving on to Slush Head's accessories. Of course, we get his alternative heads, just a regular style head, but not in the slushy mode where he's angry and everything just gets all slushed out. Cool sculpt. And here's a comparison with the head that comes in a box, so where it's all, like I was going to call it slushy, messed up. See the difference? They're both very mean, but this one obviously the more straight face. There's a view from the side, right? And there's what they look like from the back. And now here's a look with that regular alternative head in the box, put on Slush Head's body. Of course, I put the armored, cybernetic enhanced arm pieces on, all that. So you want to check that out. It looks really cool on that body with the armored. I kind of like this head though, even though it's wacky looking. But for more of a serious look, you get that head, which is neat. And this one's really tight though, with the articulation, and go left to right, okay, and go all the way down about that far and back. And then let's put our helmet on with that head on. Now here's a look with the helmet and that alternative head on that body with the armored. So Slush Head also comes with 2 pair of alternative hands. You get a left and right open hands, but check that out, they have webs on them. I guess because he's a mutant, that's pretty cool. And even nails, one color, and the hinge joints, they both go in and out. They don't go up and down. And then you get a pair of right and left punching fists, obviously, like a lot of figures come with. Pretty cool. And hinge joints, same thing, go in and out. So you do good those. So for his next accessory or accessories, you get all these different pair of tentacles, which are really cool. Obviously, you get 4 pairs. Yeah, I'm a sucker for figures with tentacles and multiple arms and stuff like that. But these are all yeah, painted up in like a bright metallic silver, and they are in a hinge joint. So these will, you can see where these are going to plug in, and they can go up and down if you see that, but you got to be careful. They are tight, and all 4 has a hinge joints like that as far as articulation. And then once they're in her body, they'll spin. We'll check that out soon. They are flexible. They're like a hard plastic, but they almost feel like they have a wire or something in them. I don't think they do. I mean, I wouldn't go too far. You might split them, but they're sort of pre-formed, but at the same time, you can almost form them a little bit. So this one has like an anchor on it, which is neat. And then you get another one with just like a clamp type of thing, and no, it doesn't articulate. It doesn't. Nothing spins. Just pre-sculpted like that. Then you got a pincher, like a pincher clamp type thing, and then you even get a like a trident or pitchfork one as well. Next, you get his battle axe blaster accessory. So once again, it's like it's a blaster on this side, and then you have the axe end on the where the handle is. Pretty cool. Then you get this, I want to call this traditional backpack, going back to, I think the Classics one has something like this. It's like, I would say, his breathing apparatus tank on there, and you can see where the tentacles are going to plug in, and then these 2 ends will plug into the body. And then with the backpack off the body, we'll start plugging some of these tentacles in. Doesn't matter where they go, but just plug this one on this side. Then I'll put the grapple hook on this side. Then I'll plug the anchor in. And then we'll plug that other claw hook in. Now, with it still off the body, you can obviously see, so we have, the articulation. Obviously, we could spin it all around like that, and it can move on those hinge joints up and down, all of these. And now bringing Slush head in, of course, with his alternative head and armor still on, we're going to plug the backpack in to those pegs like this, so the tank is facing up. Of course, we have all the tentacles on. Okay, and here's a look with Slush head with that first backpack on. Of course, we have all the tentacles, got the glass helmet, the alternative head on, which I'll change out soon with the other one. But the problem with this backpack is, in my articulation legs, is very heavy. So once again, I got to bring in one of my infamous Kaiser stands, a bunch of these, to help hold them up. And now he'll look like that, with backpack and all the everything on accessories. Looks pretty cool. Once again, you can bend these all different ways how you want them. And now here's a quick look with the regular head that came in a box back on, or the slushy head. And of course, I put the glass helmet back on. And I also put that blaster in hand and got everything else set up. So, yeah, it looks really cool. I liked the way this figure came out with everything and all the accessories. And then I just put that blaster in hand as the axe weapon. Take a look at that and just move some of these other tentacles around. It's fun what you could do with these. So moving on to his alternative backpack and his final accessory, you get this, they call it the Swamp Water Backpack. So yeah, you have some purple, some kind of swamp water in there. I guess that's what energizes him, or it's what he uses his blood, and what he needs to survive. It ain't oxygen from the other tank. And this one too, so you can see there's all different ports for the tentacles. And this also pops off. You see that? So you can separate. I'm going to show you why. Now, you see there's a plug in there for the one of the heads, not both of them. And then this purple piece of the swamp water is just, you can see the mold. And then you also got this clear plastic piece now. This is not too small. You can't get a head in here. It's not set up for that. It's just for this. Take a look at that, but that's kind of how that assembly comes apart. And now moving back to this mechanical piece without the swamp water. So it can also be a tank for the swamp water, or just it's some kind of android. And check that out. So we're going to pop one of the heads on the ball peg, put the alternative head on like that. Check that out. You can spin around, it has articulation. And then with the head back on, going back to this glass biodome, this is one of the most important parts in this set. And once again, mine was glued on. I hope the others aren't. Not supposed to be, because this should pop down on top of this piece to cover that helmet if you did, the head, if you wanted to use this dome again on this android piece. So removing, going back to that first backpack that was on Slush Head's arm and body, right, with the tank. So I'm just going to pop all these arms off everything. It's going to all pop out. And now going back to this backpack with the dome and the head on, as I showed, you can obviously see there's 8 ports for the 4 tentacles. And if you got a couple Slush Heads, you can put 8 different tentacles on. But what you can do is basically make a whole android out of this guy. And to do that, I'm just going to put everything higher. You could put them low, but you would just basically make 4 legs with the tentacles. And now you got this creepy crawling android with this, slush head inside the bubble. I think they call it calamar, right? Like, yeah, the squid calamar. But check that out. That's really unique in itself as an accessory. And you can even just stand them on 3 legs and have one of your arms articulate. You got to balance it a little more, but it does work. And again, if you got 2 slush heads, you can have, 4 more tentacles and have an 8-legged creepy android guy with one of the heads in there. Now here's a look with the slushy or squishy head on and this android body. You want to take a look at that? And then here's that slushy head with the dome back on. Just going to push it and snap it down. And then, of course, you could put this first piece back on, that swamp water. All right, and just be some kind of, crawling android refueling accessory for him or whatever he uses that swamp water for. And going back to this, I'm just going to put one of the heads on it again. And I just put the first slushy head back on Slush Head's body. And now this backpack also plugs into the back just like the first backpack did. Now look at that. That's really creepy looking accessory. He's got basically 2 heads. Head looking out in the back with that backpack. You can move it all around. Of course, the tentacles. And of course, you can put these on the lower ends. I'm just going to leave them higher. But we can take a look at that. You pop one of these out. Put it on the lower or something. Mix them around as far as the attachments. But that's real heavy. Going to need some type of stand. At least my figure does. But I love that look. Now here's a look, of course. Same setup, but the glass dome on the body. And now here's a look with the dome piece on this backpack android body with that head. So taking this back off the body and leaving the setup as it is, you can even plug this backpack attachment in with this swamp water backpack and then put it on the armored body as well. I mean, don't look practical, but you can also set it up that way. Then it looks something like that, but yeah, it's really heavy. Once again, you probably need a figure stand. And finally, I just put the swamp water and its sight glass or that helmet piece on this android body. Or now it's a backpack with his tentacles. Again, that's what's powering him or giving him energy or healing him. And I just have the squishy face on with the primary helmet. And I think that's the look we're intending for this figure with that backpack. And if it's by itself, you'll have the head on for creepy crawler, whatever you want. But yeah, this is definitely one of the figures you need 2 slush heads just to have multiple helmets, heads, arms to, just make different setups. So another setup too. So obviously I put all the arms in the lower peg holes. You want to take a look at that. Got the slushy head on with the helmet. And you can also put this backpack into this backpack as well. Take a look at that. It's something different. And I want to see if these, obviously they're different, if the little hands would go in these holes for some, I don't know, something weird and wacky, but they don't. They're just different. Obviously they're smaller pegs than the mechanical tentacles. And the other thing I want to show too, going back to one of the promotional images, is this swamp water sight glass or helmet. It's supposed to be able to go on top of this body. And if you look in the image that I'm showing here, this is supposed to recess back in this down in this armor, but it doesn't work because of these clips designed for that helmet piece I took off. Now it can sit up there. I don't know what the point of that is with this on. Maybe now it's just some type of android and this, cybernetic set. This head now is controlling that way. But you are supposed to do this, and this does not work on my figure. But it does sit there, but it does not snap in. So I just wanted to make a point of that as well. So also messing around with other parts with this Android setup. We got the backpack, the helmet on. We know all the other combinations you can do. I want to bring in one of the Origin Snakeman arms with the green that sort of matches Slush Head's color. I want to see if it would fit in one of these tentacle holes. If you want to put some arms on, something creepy. It doesn't, these are too small. It looks like you could modify it a little bit. Maybe put these in. I don't know if I force that in. I don't want to damage it, but in a way you could, you could loosen that hole up and use the Origins arms. It looks like it would work. If I want to put some arms on this Android. So mixing and matching some more parts. So I did get the Origin Snake figure arms on that. It came off this body with the 4, that snake pack just came out. All right, they do work. You got to heat these up and push them in, but they actually work. You put them in any hole, and then I just threw one of the heads on. This is route that head off that snake eye, obviously. One of the worst heads. You can't look down. Gets caught in here. But you can use Origins heads on this particular Android body. This backpack's pretty cool. And messing around with some more heads. So here's an Origin Skeletor head. Obviously, I just took the arms out for now. But yeah, you can use all kinds of heads in this. You can make a whole video on heads and attachments. It can articulate. It does look creepy and cool, but again, depending on the head, you're not going to get this helmet over. I mean, Skeletor's obviously a good example of that because of the hood. So you'd have to have a very narrow hood, or a head, excuse me. And you really want to go cybernetic or to full Android mode. So I use the robotic head off the Revelation Faker figure. And that looks really neat on there. I mean, the color is more bluer than this overall backpack, but that's, yeah, much cooler setup. And then that head now, I think, all right, that bubble can sort of fit because it's more narrow. You can mess around, you can make it work, but take a look at something like that. Pretty cool. And then for one more quick example, I use a Classics He-Man Faker head. So the Classics heads do fit on this peg with a little force. It articulates okay. It's a little more narrower than the Skeletor Origins head. There's a helmet fit on that. And you got it, the hair's a problem, but if you want to mess around with it, depending on how it articulates, you probably get the helmet down. I don't know why you would. It's obviously designed for Slush head. So moving forward with comparisons or a quick lineup, here's the 3 new Adventures characters we have in the Masterverse line. So of course we have our Galactic He-Man, which I think came out really cool with the sword, the armor, the head, the helmet. Slush Head's just awesome. He really is. His parts, accessories, what you can do with him. He's one of the coolest so far out of all 3 figures. And our new adventure Skeletor, which came out pretty neat. He, I felt, was a little lazy. I did paint my armor. I think I showed this on like Instagram or something, but I painted the circuitry and I bought a custom cape with wires. I even dyed it because it was bright red to be that more maroon color to match the armored. And I put a little skull piece between the cape. I got off like a Spawn figure, just going back to the cartoon. He didn't come with that, you know. So yeah, I didn't like the cape. Kind of poor. But aside that, and a little bit of custom work, here's all 3 of those figures together as part of the Masterverse line. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up my review on the new Masterverse Slush Head figure as part of the new Adventure subline. I think it came out awesome. Aside the QC issue or the glue they put in my glass dome here, which was stupid. I mean, that's the most important part to come off, like I showed for customs, to go on this other backpack or Android looking thing, or just to change the heads out. Yeah, you couldn't even change the heads out without taking that piece off. It's kind of ridiculous. Well, actually, you get the armor off. I'm sorry. You could, but still, doesn't make sense. Also, that glass dome, when you do put it back on, or even on, it does push the head forward. You can see that. So it kind of hits the glass. Just something with the design. But the things you could do with this guy is incredible. And this piece alone, I mean, you can use, yeah, like I showed some Classics heads, or Origins heads, or other Masterverse heads. You know, you can make a whole video on that. Would have been neat if it came with more tentacles, so you could put 6 or 4 on, you know, and another glass dome, so you can have 2 of these for the head, for this body armor if you want it, and then one on this backpack as its own thing or on the body. But that's why you got to get 2 figures. You know, you're asking for a lot. You get a lot of stuff included. Even this little wacky thing. It's cool. The hands, the head. I mean, side that QC issue, and hopefully just mine. The gun, it's incredible. What an awesome figure. They put a lot of attention and work to this particular Slush Head. I'm just super excited to have him in hand. So, as I said, he's going to be a Target exclusive coming this fall within the next month or 2 in the USA. So, go start checking your Targets, and hopefully you can find one. I appreciate everybody watching. Until next time, take care.